Chocolate Delight. Today we're going UT Tyler presents Getting It Right with Chocolate Delight, and here with this week's recipe is your host, Courtney Burton.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Getting It Right with Chocolate Delight. I'm your host, Courtney Burton, and we will be making a very simple recipe today of a no-bake pie, so let's go ahead and get started. For this recipe, you are going to need 3 cups of milk, the bigger tub of Cool Whip. You're going to want an instant pudding pack and cream cheese and 1 cup of powdered sugar, and also you're going to want some just decorative and also even better additions to your pie, some walnuts and some chocolate chips, which you can also replace with candy or whatever your little heart desires. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to make our pudding because it has to set, so we're going to go ahead and do that first while we're getting everything else ready. So you're just going to add your pudding to your bowl, and you're going to add your milk, and then you're going to just whisk that so that it gets smooth, and you want to just let it set and wait on you. So while we're doing this, what we do is we combine our half of our Cool Whip with our cream cheese, and then we're going to add our confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar, however you remember what powdered sugar is. And once we get this pudding mostly smooth, we are going to get started on that cream mixture. This is a really easy pie. You can do it many different ways. You can make mini versions. You can make your own crust, but we actually go with a pre-made graham cracker crust for this time, and especially if you're in a hurry. All right, so our pudding is pretty smooth, so we're going to just set that aside for now. And then we have our cream cheese and half of our Cool Whip, and then we're going to throw in our confectioner's sugar. A tip for this is to make sure that your cream cheese and your Cool Whip are at least at room temperature. And then don't start too high because your powdered sugar will go everywhere. And then just gradually increase the speed so that you can make a very smooth mixture. You want to keep it from being too lumpy, and you can just spin your bowl to do that. You're still going to get powdered sugar everywhere, but it's okay. It's not fun if it's not messy. We're just going to up the speed a little more so that it gets a little smoother, a little bit faster. I actually make this recipe for almost every holiday. It's just so simple. Really good consistency. Whoa. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to turn that off and set it to the side here. And you'll be done with your mixer, but just set it aside. So what you're going to do is just give your pudding just another little stir, just to make sure that it's setting up really nicely and it's really smooth. So what we will do now is we'll grab this has to be room temperature, the cream mixture, so that it spreads easily on the crust. So we're just going to grab some of it, and we're going to throw it down here on our crust. And you won't necessarily use all of it, and the reason we do the cream first is because it's very hard to spread the pudding, it's really hard to spread this cream mixture over soft pudding. So we want to make sure that we can do that. And we just want to get it even, have a good amount there on the bottom. All right, so now that we have that, we are going to continue doing this while we go to a short break. When we come back, we'll put the rest of the pie together.
Why'd you spit out your drink? It's cold and gross. This cup is the worst at keeping drinks hot. Girl, you definitely need the Snow Monster cup. It's great at keeping my drinks warm.
Get your Snow Monster cup on Amazon.
All right, welcome back to Getting It Right with Chocolate Delight. We've been making a very simple pie, so we are going to continue now with putting it all together. So our pudding has set up really nicely. It's got a really good consistency. If you end up getting the big pouch of pudding, it's okay. You're not going to use all of your pudding, just like you didn't use all of this, or you can make multiple pies. And we're going to just throw this on top. We're going to set this aside so it's out of our way. And then we are going to just use, I like to use the wooden because it just spreads easier. And you have to be careful again with the pudding because you're going to add something on top of it, so don't put too much or your pie's going to overflow, which can be a good or a bad thing. Just depends on how much pudding you like. So we're just going to spread it around, make sure we've got as much as we want on there. Kind of cover that white filling. All right. Okay, that looks good. It looks like it's filled very nicely. Not too much and not too little. So at this point, we're going to top our pie. And what we do is we get to use the rest of the tub of Cool Whip. So we're going to throw that on there, kind of in different spots so that we can just spread it out. And it never fails. I always end up mixing the pudding with the Cool Whip somehow, no matter how hard I try. And then another thing that we can keep in mind when you're making this pie, because it's so simple and you can kind of customize it to do whatever it is you want to do with it. So for example, I have crushed walnuts and I have some just semi-sweet chocolate chips that I'm going to use on top of ours. But what I usually do is I like to get crushed candies. My favorite is Butterfinger, so I love putting Butterfinger crushed up on anything. So we're just going to spread this Cool Whip around and kind of be gentle with it because, like I said, it'll push that pudding, so you just have to be very careful, but you want to get it even too. All right, this is the delicate portion of the pie. I'm not necessarily a perfectionist, but I like to make sure it's even. So you just keep working with it till you have it where you want it. All right. We're getting there. We are getting there. So another thing that I really enjoy doing is making the mini version because they're basically bite-sized goodness. And those are easy to transport. That's another reason why I went with the graham cracker crust today, is it's easy to transport and they actually come with their own lid. So you end up getting to take it anywhere you want to without the fear of spilling it. All right, we got it almost where we want it. See there? I got the pudding on it already. But that's okay. It's all going to the same place, right? Okay. So now we get to be decorative in a way. Again, always make sure that the people that you are making this for don't have a nut allergy of any kind. Otherwise, you probably don't want to use walnuts. I like to use walnuts when I make the actual homemade crust. I use walnuts in the crust. So there's many different varieties of this. So all that you'll end up doing is just sprinkling it around. This is going to give it a really nice crunch, really a good walnut flavor as well, which complements the pudding and the cream cheese filling. All right, so we got that done. And then for the most fun part, of course, add more chocolate. Why wouldn't you add more chocolate? So you're just going to sprinkle that around. All right, guys. Well, this is Chocolate Delight, and I appreciate you being here with me. Join me next time for our new recipe.